What's the one thing I'm for sure never allowed to buy again?
TVs.
The Nintendo 64 is my personal favorite retro video game console of all time, and as a retro collector, it's also hands down my absolute favorite thing on this planet to collect for. And over the last several years, I have been on a non-stop mission to collect every single thing related to the N64 that I could possibly get my hands on, all in the hopes of accomplishing my oldest childhood dream, and that dream was to build this. This is my literal dream Nintendo 64 setup, and it's something that I've been picturing since I was a kid. And after many years of effort and work and time and all sorts of searching, I was finally able to bring everything together that I needed to make this thing a reality. I plopped it right out of my head and put it in my room, and it was the most amazing feeling ever. And I've known from the very beginning that getting to this point and accomplishing my perfect N64 setup was going to be a three-step process. Step 1, find the games. Now, I've only ever really been interested in games released in North America for the N64 because those were the ones that I could have actually got a hold of and played as a kid growing up. And when all the dust settled, there went on to be a total of 296 commercially released titles for the N64 in North America. And game by game, year by year, 1 yard sale at a time, I slowly chipped my way towards that grand total of 296, and as of just a couple of years ago, I finally got my hands on the very last game I needed to complete my North American N64 set, and it was an amazing day. With the games in hand, I could finally move on to the next part of the process. Step 2, find the systems. Now, most people out there only know the N64 as this, a gray on darker gray bland little console, but what a lot of people don't know is that the N64 actually went on to become one of the most colorful systems ever released, and that's because Nintendo eventually released more than a dozen variants of the N64 worldwide, with 9 of those system variants being released here in North America alone, and those 9 variants were the ones that I wanted for my setup. The charcoal gray, of course, the 6 Fantastic systems, the Toys R Us Gold exclusive system, and of course the Pikachu system. But don't get me wrong though, if I looked into a cool international system variant, you could bet your that thing was coming home with me. Like the super awesome orange Pikachu system from Japan, or this half orange half black variant from Japan known as the Daihawk system. And that goes triple for the boxes to these systems. If I was actually lucky enough to find a box to one of these things, there was no doubt about it, I was making room for that thing on my shelf. Eventually though, the day came to where I had all the games I needed and all the systems I needed to build my shelf, so that's what I did. But once I was able to finally step back and admire my creation, I realized that there was still something extremely important missing. Something I thought was going to be the easiest part of the process, but it actually turned out to be extremely difficult. Step 3, find the perfect TV. Okay, so I know a lot of you are probably going to think I'm crazy for this, but hear me out. In my head, my dream Nintendo 64 setup was never going to be truly complete until I managed to find the absolute perfect CRT TV to tie it all together with. I just wanted to be able to easily access and play everything in my Nintendo 64 collection, all right there within the display itself in the coolest way possible. And for me to do that in the way that I always dreamed I would, I needed one badass TV to be in the mix. In the very beginning, I actually had the perfect TV picked out for this job. I wanted to try to find one of those Nintendo 64 branded TVs that you would see in a Nintendo 64 kiosk. But unfortunately, finding one of those things turned out to be every bit as hard as it was expensive. And by that, I mean extremely hard and extremely expensive. And after several years of searching, I honestly got to the point where I was about to give up and just stick any old TV in that corner, but then I remembered something. In like 2014 or so, my buddy Josh went to jail, and when he got out, he told me something that really stuck with me. Hey Josh, how was jail, bud? It wasn't so bad. As a matter of fact, every night after the lights out, me and my cellmate would strip down to our boxers and have ourselves a tickle fight. And just to add some class to it, we would do it while singing an a cappella version of 1 Week by the Bare Naked Ladies, and the first one of us to laugh, grin, giggle, or forget a lyric lost their pudding cup the next day. Okay. Ooh, not that. That stuck with me too, but let's skip ahead a little bit. Sorry about that. So in jail, every day after 2 p.m. they would take us into what they call the sun room, and for entertainment they would let us watch movies. And the old CRT TV that they had hooked up in there was translucent green! And I'm telling you, man, it looks exactly like your Nintendo 64 does. Seriously? A translucent green CRT TV? I'll remember that. You never know when that might come. Whoa, 1 week though. And after I finally remembered learning about a legendary see-through green CRT being used in jail all those years ago, I immediately got down to business trying to track one down. Now, I learned very quickly that there was a subtle but very important difference between a transparent CRT TV and a translucent CRT TV. Something made with a straight-up transparent material would be basically as clear as glass. You could easily see something on the other side, no problem at all. As to where something made with a translucent material would be a little hazier, a little less clear, but still see-through. And since the ultimate goal was to one day hopefully pair this see-through TV with a famously translucent, fantastic Nintendo 64, that meant I needed to do my best to find a translucent CRT TV to match. Unfortunately though, even with all that information in hand, in the very beginning I was having an extremely difficult time finding any information on any kind of see-through CRT TV, translucent, transparent, or otherwise. I couldn't find any of these things for sale no matter where I looked. I wasn't even having luck on eBay, but then I thought back to where I first heard about this type of TV all those years ago, and I added a couple of missing magic words to my search that changed everything. Prison/jail. After that, it was on. Once I finally figured out the key to finding these TVs online, I noticed something. I was clearly not the first person to realize how amazing these little prison TVs were, because the prices were astronomically high, and they climb higher every single year. Based on my research, or at least as far as I can tell, it was possible to get your hands on a translucent CRT TV back in the day commercially, but the overwhelming vast majority of translucent CRTs, and translucent flat screen style TVs for that matter, are used and were used solely in the prison systems. And the reason for that's pretty obvious, I think. If you're going to have an electronic in a jail or prison, it's going to have to be see-through, otherwise it's going to turn into one hell of a good hiding place for the prisoner. And after these TVs hit the aftermarket and get to the collector side of things, the fact that they were in prison or jails kind of makes it a good news, bad news situation. The good news is that, at least in my opinion, that fact makes the collectability of these TVs even higher. The bad news is they may be haunted or something. I eventually went on to learn two very important things when it came to shopping for a prison TV. One, it is apparently widely regarded that a company named Zenith makes the absolute best prison TV out there. And two, Zenith made a green prison TV, and based on the pictures that I could find of it online, it was perfect. It was exactly what I'd been looking for all this time. But unfortunately, due to the high price tag and extreme rareness, it made it basically impossible for me to even hope to find one of these someday, so I had to turn my attention to the cheaper, easier to find clear model. And finally, after a few more years of searching, one of the clear Zenith models popped up here locally, and I was able to trade to it for a good deal. And in person, this thing is absolutely stunning, but I also noticed in person that there was a bit of a smokiness to this clear color, which meant there was a real chance it could match well with my Smoke N64. But real quick, check out how cool this is. It actually has the guy's last name, his inmate number, and the year he was in jail all carved into the back of this thing. That's about as cool as it gets as far as the TV goes, in my opinion. But let's pair up the Smoke N64 with this thing and see how awesome it looks. That's a pretty dang good match, man. As you can see, it's not 100% spot on, but it's absolutely close enough. And if the Smoke N64 was your favorite N64, then this is without a doubt the perfect TV for your collection. I love this setup. But as bad as this pairing is, the truth is my heart still yearned for the translucent green version of the monitor, so I had no choice but to keep looking. And I eventually found a really cool YouTube video that went into great detail about the green one, and it really made me want it more, man.
We're going to look at one of my favorite CRTs in my entire collection.
That's the one. That's gonna be mine. You'll see. Regardless of how badly I wanted one of these things, the fact is it was just too expensive to justify, and the price kept going higher every single year. I thought about just buying the thing and asking for forgiveness later, but that seemed dangerous. I mean, could you honestly imagine running that purchase by your wife when money's already super tight and living to tell about it? Byrd! Yes, honey? Did you just spend a bunch of money on a stupid non-emergency purchase? But I feel like this was an emergency purchase. Oh yeah, well you have 30 seconds to convince me that it was. But I'm dead serious. It's a 26-year-old 13-inch CRT TV by a company named Zenith, and it's translucent green, and the fact that it was see-through green means it was often approved for use in prisons, which means there's a better than 0% chance that the actual TV that I bought to bring home to the place where you, me, and our kids sleep would have done time in a jail or prison somewhere, but it gets better! The translucent green material that Zenith used to make these TVs is practically identical in color to the translucent green material that Nintendo used to make the jungle green Nintendo 64, which makes these two items retro video gaming soulmates, and it would have been absolutely, utterly wrong of me not to do everything I possibly could to bring these two items together forever in my collection, so I had no choice, you see? So are we good? Divorce granted. But as it turns out, the gaming gods were smiling down on me because the same dude that found the clear one in town managed to find the green one too, and I was able to trade him out of it for a completely reasonable deal and add it to my collection, and it is beautiful. No joke, this thing is literally everything I ever hoped it would be, and then some. It is gorgeous. I mean, just look at this beautiful thing. And just when I thought it couldn't get much cooler, I found this. This one also has the last name of an inmate and the inmate's number carved into the back of it, and like I said earlier, that makes it even cooler in my eyes because it adds a little bit of validation to the whole prison TV thing, which means this TV really did spend the beginning part of its life in a jail or prison out there somewhere, and now it's in my collection. I just think that's wild for some reason. But at long last, I've waited years and years to pair this green TV with a green Nintendo 64 to see what they look like, and now I finally can. So drum roll please, let's see if it was worth the wait.
okay. It's a good idea.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, I recognize that I may be a little biased here, but holy do I love the way this thing turned out. I have been picturing it for so many years, and it was worth all of the effort in the end. Now, although they may not be a 100% perfect match, the Jungle Green Nintendo 64 and Green Zenith Prison TV still make one hell of a good couple, and they are the perfect combo for any Nintendo 64 collector's dream setup. And even though I've accomplished my journey, I am still constantly making little tweaks to try to make this setup even better. And remember earlier in the video when I said I wanted to easily be able to access and play everything inside of the display itself? Well, in the interest of that, I added this cool little Q-tip dispenser and this little bottle that holds some alcohol so that if I ever run into a stubborn game, I can just grab a Q-tip, dip it in some alcohol, clean the game, and never miss a beat or leave my spot. That is the dream. Even back in 2023, when I was first lucky enough to put together my dream setup for the very first time, I was thrilled with the way it came out, but it always felt like it was missing something super important. But now, and I'm not kidding when I say this, it really does feel like I finally completed a project that I have been working on in some way, shape, or form since I was a kid, and I could not be happier or more proud with the way it came out. No joke, but every time somebody visits my game room, the very first thing they want to talk about is the Prison TV Nintendo 64 combo. So I figured it might be fun to make an entire video about it. And who knows, there may be another crazy Nintendo 64 collector out there like me that's also trying to find the perfect TV to complete their dream Nintendo 64 setup. And if that's the case, now they know exactly where to look. What's the one thing I'm for sure never allowed to buy again?
TVs.
Not even one?
Nope.
Not even if I found a purple one?
Nope.
Or a watermelon red one?
I do like purple, so.
So purple is the next one.
But no more after that. We have like 14 TVs.
Okay, fair enough. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you like this kind of content, please consider liking and maybe even subscribing. It helps me out a ton, and honestly, it just makes me happy to see those numbers trickle up every now and then. I also love replying to every comment that I see, so feel free to drop a comment down below, and I'll get back with you just as soon as I see it. If you like N64 stuff, definitely consider sticking around, because that's primarily what I'm going to be talking about for the next little while. Don't forget to remember how awesome you guys are, and I will see you on the next one.